Imagine a not-so-distant future, an ideal world where Earth has been reborn, free of violence, and with nature thriving. It sounds like a utopian dream, right? However, this peace comes at a cost. Aliens known as souls have taken control of humanity. These beings travel across the cosmos, invading and dominating the bodies of the most evolved inhabitants of each planet they visit, erasing the original consciousness of their hosts. The souls can access the memories of their human bodies and are identifiable by a peculiar silver glow in their eyes. Amidst this new world order, there are still humans who resist. Melanie is one of them. A fugitive, she seeks refuge in an abandoned hotel, but her attempt to escape catches the attention of the Seekers, a kind of alien police force. In a desperate confrontation, Melanie fights bravely, injuring some of her pursuers and running toward the upper floor, where she ends up throwing herself out the window, critically wounding herself. However, the Seekers manage to capture her and take her to a medical center, where her wounds are instantly healed with advanced alien spray. After her recovery, a soul is implanted into Melanie's body. When she wakes up, something in her eyes has changed, and the soul now inhabiting her calls herself Wanderer. In the hours that follow, Wanderer struggles to adapt to her new human body, but a persistent voice in her mind reveals that Melanie has not been completely silenced. Determined, Melanie begins an internal battle, resisting Wanderer's control over her body. In a crucial moment, the Seeker known as Blondie summons Wanderer to a meeting and demands that she explore Melanie's memories for clues about the whereabouts of the rebels. Reluctantly, Wanderer begins to recount episodes from Melanie's past. She recalls a specific day at the beach with her brother Jamie, when they were surprised by the Seekers. They hid under a pier while their father, in an act of desperation, took his own life to avoid capture. Melanie struggles in vain to prevent Wanderer from revealing these memories. Later, while sleeping, Wanderer is haunted by dreams that are Melanie's memories. She relives an occasion when Melanie was breaking into a house in search of food and was surprised by Jared, the resident, who initially mistook her for a soul. The tension of the moment turns into relief and then into passion when Jared realizes she is human and kisses her. Melanie, confused, repels him and flees, but Jared follows, convincing her that he is also human, suggesting an alliance for survival. When Wanderer awakens from these vivid dreams, she cannot shake off the intensity of the kiss and, driven by an inexplicable curiosity, sketches a portrait of Jared. Melanie, noticing this, forces her to put the pencil down. The next day, upon seeing the drawing, Blondie reprimands Wanderer and demands that she focus more on the missions. Wanderer then explains that Melanie and Jamie had started a new life in the countryside with Jared. The closeness between Melanie and Jared evolved into a deep love, a feeling that confuses Wanderer even more. Blondie warns her, reminding her that human physical impulses are considered inappropriate by the souls. One afternoon, Jared noticed the sinister shadow of the Seekers looming on the horizon. Without hesitation, he knew it was time to run. The escape was desperate, driven by the hope of finding allies among the rebels. In the midst of their journey, exhausted, they decided to take a break at an isolated hotel. It was there that the Seekers caught up with Melanie, who volunteered to distract them, allowing the others to escape. This memory is revisited by Wanderer, who confesses that she cannot access any memories after this event, while Blondie listens and then withdraws, frustrated. However, one image lingers in Wanderer's mind, which she promptly sketches, but Melanie convinces her to destroy the illustration, revealing that location would mean exposing her loved ones to mortal danger. In the days that followed, Blondie continued to pressure Wanderer for more information. However, Wanderer's new connection with Melanie's emotions made her resist. She was determined to protect the love she now understood. In a tense moment, Blondie reveals that Jared has been located and could be captured soon. Panic grips Wanderer, who in a fit of desperation, attacks Blondie, only to be subdued and sedated with a spray. Later, in a secure facility, Blondie and a doctor discuss Melanie's resistance to relinquishing control, deciding that Wanderer should be transferred to a more docile host. The sinister plan includes using Melanie's body temporarily to access her memories before discarding it. Left to rest before the procedure scheduled for the following morning, Melanie convinces Paragina to escape. She instructs Paragina to block the door with a chair and jump from the balcony, landing directly in the pool below. A Seeker tries to intercept them, but Melanie has Paragina use the spray to neutralize him. Melanie suggests stealing a car, but Paragina, knowledgeable of alien laws and customs, opts to request one, claiming an emergency. The driver hands over the keys without question, trusting in the inherent honesty of her species. Meanwhile, in the building, Blondie and the doctor struggle to break down the blocked door. When they finally succeed, they realize it's too late. They search the room and discover the map fragments in Paragina's clothes. During the tense escape, Melanie uses memories of her moments with Jamie to manipulate Paragina's emotions, distracting her and forcing her to drive toward the rebels' hideout. When Paragina realizes the manipulation, a struggle for control of the wheel ensues, resulting in an accident that causes the car to flip. With no other option, Paragina accepts Melanie's guidance through the desert, carefully stepping only on the rocks to avoid leaving tracks. Meanwhile, at the Seeker's base, Blondie assembles the map fragments and identifies the location on the digital map. She quickly departs, arriving at the crash site. With no tracks to follow, she calls for reinforcements to search the area. Paragina moves through the desert, holding a small bottle of water taken from the car, her last resource. The relentless sun pours its heat upon her until the excessive heat causes her to faint under the shade of a solitary tree. There, Jeb, the commander of the rebels, finds her unconscious. He gently offers her water as she murmurs, half-conscious, "You found us," using a plural that immediately catches Jeb's attention. Soon after, other rebels approach, but they bring with them an atmosphere of discontent. Maggie, irritated, slaps Paragina, while Ian and Kyle, driven by their hatred of the Parasites, express their desire to eliminate her. However, Jeb intervenes, pointing his weapon and forcing them to back off, deciding to take Paragina with him. The group then moves to a hidden cave in the mountains, a secret refuge where the rebels had been hiding. There, Melanie's loved ones awaited her, but Jared, upon seeing her, reacts with immediate hostility. Maggie argues that Melanie should be treated like the other Parasites, handed over to the doctor, but to everyone's surprise, Jeb disagrees. Wanderer is taken to an isolated room, while Jamie, curious, watches her through a hole in the ceiling. Melanie begs Wanderer to keep the secret about the inner voice they share, fearing that no one would believe her. Jared stands guard, wary of the resentment from others who still wish to kill her. During a tense confrontation, when Kyle and Jared clash, Wanderer tries to intervene. Ignored, the situation escalates until Ian attempts to strangle her. At the height of the chaos, Jeb intervenes with a warning shot that paralyzes everyone. He declares that access to Wanderer's corridor is restricted and threatens to shoot anyone who defies his order. Before leaving, Jared requests that Jamie be kept away from her. As the days pass, the tension between Ian, Jared, and Kyle intensifies when they discover that the Seekers are nearby. Despite a fruitless search that causes the group to disperse, Blondie remains stubbornly determined to stay. Meanwhile, back in the cave, Wanderer notices Jamie spying on her and decides to reveal the truth about Melanie's body being occupied, while Jeb, hidden, listens to the entire conversation. When the boys return, Jared reiterates to Jamie that he should stay away from Wanderer, painting her as a threat. However, Ian begins to question his own convictions, pondering the unusual nature of a parasite that defends others. In the vast desert, Blondie receives an alarming call. The search team is returning, having detected signs of humans in the area. At dawn, Jeb approaches Wanderer, proposing a friendly change. He suggests calling her Wanda, a nickname he finds more intimate. Without delay, he leads her to a hidden spot, an underground river where she can cool off. Later, they visit the wheat field, a surprising sight sustained by a series of mirrors on the ceiling that direct sunlight to the plants. Meanwhile, the Seekers begin their patrols in the area, flying over it with helicopters. Jeb, alert, perceives the imminent danger and quickly orders everyone to cover the mirrors, preventing the light from revealing their location. The strategy works, and after a few tense moments, the helicopters pull away, leaving the group relieved. In the aftermath, Jeb, showing prudent caution, hands his weapon to Jamie, who is entrusted with watching over Wanda. The gesture is symbolic, as Jeb secretly keeps the bullets, ensuring that the weapon poses no real threat. Jamie then leads Wanda to a cave illuminated by countless fireflies. In this enchanting setting, Melanie feels it is time to reveal the truth about her coexistence with Wanda in the same body. With the revelation, Jamie reacts with surprise and relief, embracing her warmly. Meanwhile, another group of humans sets out to search for supplies. They arrive at a supermarket and quickly begin to stock up on what they can, but the operation is interrupted when they encounter a Seeker. Jared acts swiftly and neutralizes the threat with a blow, dragging the unconscious Seeker into the truck before making their getaway. At dawn the next day, Wanda is invited to help with the wheat harvest. While working, she exchanges glances with Ian, and a tension forms between them. Maggie, distrustful and hostile, refuses to give Wanda water, but Ian promptly offers his own, a gesture of solidarity that Wanda appreciates. However, the calm is shattered by the sound of returning helicopters. Jamie, frightened, injures himself with a scythe in the confusion to conceal the mirrors again. As they rush to hide, one of the trucks is spotted on the road, drawing the attention of the helicopters due to its excessive speed. The occupants of the truck react by firing at the helicopters, which retreat, but are soon replaced by seeker cars that begin a fierce chase. Cornered and with no way out, the youths in the truck choose a desperate measure: to cause an accident to avoid capture. Meanwhile, Jared and Kyle in another truck watch the scene in horror. They must maintain the facade of being souls to survive and continue their journey, but Blondie notices their hesitation. The chase intensifies, and in a direct confrontation, Kyle tries to defend himself but fails. Jared makes a risky maneuver to escape, but the situation worsens when Blondie accidentally kills one of her own. Back in the safety of the caves, Wanda opens up about the achievements and longevity of her people. She reveals that they have conquered 12 inhabited planets, always coexisting peacefully with other species. Her confession of being over 1,000 years old leaves everyone reflecting on the vastness of her journey through time. At that moment, Jared and Kyle return to the scene and, to their surprise, find Paragina sitting at the table, participating as if she were one of them. Anger overwhelms them, but Jeb quickly intervenes to prevent them from doing something foolish, while Ian tries to calm things down by explaining that she poses no danger. However, his arguments fall on deaf ears. At the height of the tension, Jaime decides to step in and makes a shocking revelation. Melanie is still alive, preserved within Paragina. Jared, however, is overcome with skepticism and withdraws, disbelieving. Ian offers his own room as a safe refuge for Paragina. During the night, Jared is haunted by dreams that recall intimate moments with Melanie. Driven by longing and hope, he decides to confront her. Ian, understanding the need for a private encounter, leaves, allowing Jared to approach and kiss Paragina. This triggers a panic reaction in Melanie, who forces Paragina to push Jared away, as had happened before. For Jared, this gesture is living proof that Melanie is still there, and he declares his love, saying that he loves her. Terrified by the intensity of the moment, Paragina flees and seeks refuge near the river. That same morning, while she tries to remain hidden, Kyle finds her. In an impulse of self-preservation, she hides submerged in the water. When he finally moves away, she attempts to escape by another path, but Kyle, anticipating her movements, surprises her and attacks without hesitation. In the ensuing struggle, as Kyle tries to push her toward a nearby waterfall, Paragina, in a desperate move, strikes him and makes him fall into the abyss in her place. Melanie, gripped by cold calculation, wants to leave him to his fate, but Paragina, showing compassion, grabs his hand, preventing his fatal fall. Shortly after, Ian and Jared arrive and help pull him from the water. The doctor quickly assesses both of them, while Jeb demands to know what really happened. Paragina claims it was an accident, and although Ian suspects there was more to it, the lack of concrete evidence means that Kyle, for now, does not face direct reprisals. Next, Jared instructs Ian to keep his distance from Wanderer, and departs with Kyle in search of supplies. Later, seizing a rare moment of tranquility, Ian takes Wanderer outside the cave so she can enjoy some sunlight. In that moment of calm, he confesses that his feelings for her have grown. Touched, Wanderer admits she feels the same, but when Ian leans in to kiss her, Melanie, through Wanderer, protests. Despite the resistance, Ian kisses her, leading Wanderer to ask for time to process her internal conflicts. Meanwhile, at a seeker base, Blondie closely watches recordings of the area. She notices an involuntary tremor in her hand, but refuses to acknowledge that she's losing control, while a persistent voice echoes in her head. Sometime later, Wanderer discovers that Jamie's wound has been neglected. She confronts the doctor and is horrified to learn that captured seekers are brought there for the removal of the parasites, a process that inevitably kills them. Shocked, she accuses everyone of being monsters and retreats to her room, where she breaks down in tears. As days pass, Wanda isolates herself, refusing to leave the room or eat. Concerned, Jeb checks on her and reminds her that humanity won't easily bow down. To convince her to stay, he promises that no more captives will be brought in and reveals that Jamie is gravely ill due to an infection in his wound. Anxious, Wanda rushes to check on Jamie's condition, while desperately trying to reach Melanie, who strangely no longer responds. In a desperate attempt, she tells Jamie that Melanie is fine, trying to reassure him, but soon after she runs to Ian, pleading for a kiss. During that moment, no part of her resists the kiss, which to her confirms the painful truth that Melanie has disappeared. However, Ian, skeptical, asks Jared to test this theory by kissing Wanda. This provokes a sudden reaction from Melanie inside her, and Wanda, in an instinctive response, bites Jared to stop the forced kiss. Informed about Jamie's condition, Melanie, though weakened, agrees that they need to act. With this, Wanda manages to persuade Jared to accompany her to the city. On the way, a knife that Jared is carrying accidentally causes some cuts on Wanda, but they use these injuries as a pretext to secure an urgent medical appointment. At the clinic, a high-tech medicinal spray heals her wounds instantly. Taking advantage of a moment when the doctor is distracted, Wanda discreetly steals several vials of the miraculous spray. As they leave, she notices a capsule containing a soul, and without hesitation, grabs it. As they prepare to depart, a mysterious motorcycle begins to pursue them. Back at the caves, the sprays brought by Wanda heal Jamie almost instantly, greatly improving his condition. This gesture significantly boosts the group's trust in Wanda, who is now considered a valuable asset and is included in the next supply mission. Thanks to her appearance, she is able to acquire food legally. However, upon their return, they are met with a shocking sight. A guard's lifeless body lies on the cave floor. It is then that Blondie appears, revealing herself to be the mysterious motorcyclist. Ready to open fire on them, she is interrupted when Jeb, emerging unexpectedly, shoots first. Captured, Blondie is taken inside the cave and treated with the spray, which leaves her visibly confused and disoriented. Wanda seizes the opportunity to ask some questions and deduces that the other seekers are unaware of her whereabouts. After careful consideration, Wanda speaks with the doctor and proposes a deal. She will teach them how to safely extract the parasites without killing them, in exchange for a guarantee that the executions will stop. The doctor agrees, and shortly after, Blondie is sedated for surgery. Wanda then uses the incision to demonstrate to the humans how to carefully remove the alien, persuading them to adopt a less lethal approach. Upon awakening, Blondie, now free from the parasite, reveals that her human name is Lacey. Lacey, like Melanie, was imprisoned in her own thoughts, a mental labyrinth that also afflicted Blondie. This situation drove Blondie to pursue Wanda, trying to prevent other hosts from ending up in a state similar to Lacey's. Hours later, the group decides to go to the city, where Wanda takes advantage of the laser system used for transporting the capsules to Earth. Using this technology, she successfully sends Blondie's parasite back into outer space. On returning to the caves, Wanda makes a controversial request to the doctor to remove her from Melanie's body and allow her to die. This request sparks a general disagreement, as everyone believes it's possible to save the parasite without sacrificing Wanda, but she insists on her decision. At this moment, Ian approaches, declares his love, and kisses her. Sometime later, Wanda awakens, surprised to find Melanie before her. The group shows her a mirror and explains that they placed her in the body of a young woman who had suffered brain death. This way, Wanda is not taking a life, but giving this person a chance to continue. Now, under her new human name Wanda, she has the opportunity to start a new life with Ian, while Melanie reunites with Jared. Months later, the two couples are strolling through the city when a seeker approaches them. With a sharp manner, he removes each person's sunglasses to check if they are human, and upon noticing Wanda's alien eyes, questions whether she is there against her will. Wanda's friends suggest she lied to protect herself, but she chooses the truth, stating that she is a friend of humans. To everyone's surprise, this earns a smile from the seeker, who reveals that he is working with a group of humans searching for other survivors. He then invites them to join him, an offer that brings new perspectives and hopes for the future.